Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's webinar, we will have a conversation regarding the following topics. What is MathForward and the 8 research-based components that the program includes. We will also allow Amador Vasquez, the Lubbock ISD math coordinator, to discuss some data from his school district and the impact that TI-Nspire has had in his school district in the last few years. Well, what is TI-Nspire? TI-Nspire is an algebra readiness program designed to increase students' success in mathematics by engaging them in the mathematical practices through technology and improving their understanding of critical algebra concepts through technology-enhanced lessons. Through the MathForward program, teachers receive professional development, one-on-one classroom coaching, lessons, and technology support that help them understand the content and practices needed to succeed with their students. The U.S. Department of Education has found through their research that students who succeed in Algebra 2 and beyond are twice as likely to earn a college degree. We all know that Algebra 1 is a gatekeeper for all math courses offered in high school. We have found that if students succeed in Algebra 1, then they will likely experience success in geometry, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, and calculus as well. TI-Nspire responds to a pressing need for middle school algebra readiness and high school algebra success while increasing teacher capacity for further gains. TI-Nspire integrates proven TI technologies in a comprehensive research-based mathematics improvement program. This program enables schools to turn around student achievement in mathematics and create a basis for sustained progress over the long term. Many schools want to build on their existing investment in a curriculum and textbook. TI-Nspire does not require a school to change its core curriculum. It instead works by augmenting and intensifying the existing curriculum. Further, schools want a product that helps all students learn more, not just students targeted for intervention. These are the 8 components that I mentioned earlier that are part of the MathForward program. While many factors contribute to the overall success of mathematics, studies show that effective math instruction for all students requires a total school effort and cannot be accomplished without the active and knowledgeable support of school administrators at both the district and campus level. We feel very strongly that all 8 components are factors that contribute to the success for all students in TI-Nspire. We will be discussing these components individually in the next few slides. TI-Nspire includes TI-Nspire technology that empowers students to engage in the practice of mathematics. Technology that does more than just graph and calculate. The TI-Nspire helps students make stronger connections to math by using built-in features and specialized lessons designed to address content standards. For instance, students use their Nspires to explore and deepen understanding of concepts, state meaning of graphs, objects, and symbols. Students can also use their Nspires to calculate accurately and efficiently, communicate and defend their mathematical reasoning using objects, models, and diagrams. They can use their Nspires to look for patterns in calculations to generalize solutions for problems. They can also create models using their Nspires and apply strategies for solving problems. When TI-Nspire program is used within TI-Nspire technology, teachers and students can better reach the depths of exploration required in today's mathematics courses with powerful built-in capabilities that take math technology beyond traditional solutions. Now students can build, explore, and interact with graphs, geometry, data and statistics With the TI-Nspire, the ability to explore and discover mathematics is put into each student's hands, encouraging them to develop a deeper understanding of mathematics. The TI-Nspire Navigator system provides an avenue for engaging students in mathematics. By using the results from quick polls and class captures, teachers are able to probe for student understanding and use student responses to facilitate class discussion, guide their discourse, instructing students on how to build a logical explanation for the results, provide relevance for discussion with their students, or even help students identify the precise language needed to clearly express numerical answers and support their conclusions. Valerie and Sandra, I'd like to invite you guys to share your experiences in involving student engagement in Lubbock ISD last year and currently this year for you guys.
Sure, I'll start. This is Valerie, and last year I was a MathForward implementation specialist for Lubbock, and I worked in the middle school and high schools. And in the middle school, we didn't really use the calculators for calculations per se. We used them for problem-solving interactive activities, and multiple representations were inherent in those activities as well. We also used the handhelds as a classroom management tool, sending questions to students and receiving their immediate responses so that teachers could instantly change their teaching strategy to best meet their students' needs. We also were able to show students as live presenters and displaying their actions live for the class. And with quick polls, sending out really quick questions to the students and getting those immediate feedback responses, the results are displayed in an anonymous fashion, though the teacher can still see which student answered which question. But invariably, a student would say, "Hey, miss, I got this particular answer because," and then they give their reason. They didn't have to do that, but just the anonymous feature of the technology helps to create a safe learning environment, so they're not afraid to make mistakes, and that's really cool.
I'd like to jump in. Yes, the fact that the students have a voice, this allows every student to have a voice and not just that student that wants to answer every question. It allows the teacher to create an environment where students feel safe. It's okay to make a mistake. And with those mistakes, the teacher can build on that knowledge and correct misconceptions before they get too firmly implanted in the students' minds, so that they can change the course if they need to, back up and re-instruct, or just visit with one student and let the rest of them that are getting the concept take off and go. It does let that student that would rather die than raise his or her hand and really doesn't want to have the spotlight on him or her at all. Once they feel safe and they know they're not going to be singled out and ridiculed for having the wrong answer, they feel like they can have a voice, and the teacher can have a pulse on the entire class at the same time without singling out a student and making them feel ostracized or anything like that. So it's a very powerful tool in the hands of the teachers, because they can take a quick check and see, did they hear what I said or what I thought I said, and did they understand the way that I had intended for them to on any concept at any time.
So,
exactly.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I think Leslie had a really good question. I think this might be for Valerie, but I'm sure any of you can agree and chime in. So the question from Leslie was, how did you get your students to change from just, say, calculating numbers to using the calculator as a tool?
Well, it's very important that we start out the way that the expectations are laid, in that when we hand them this piece of technology, it's not just a calculator, and we don't even call it a calculator. We refer to it as a handheld. And some of the students are not even aware that the calculator is there because they have not been given the time to use the calculator, and they don't expect to. They see it as a delivery tool for instruction and questions and explorations. So it's very important that the climate is set that this is not a calculator, this is not a tool that you're going to use as a crutch. It's a tool or a resource that we're going to use to explore and receive instruction and even take formal assessments. So that it's very important that the teacher understands that and conveys that to the students from the very beginning.
And I would add, because you can see exactly what your students are thinking when they submit their answers, just because they submit their answers and the correct answer may be displayed, that's not the end. In fact, that's just the beginning, because at that point, really deep discussions can occur and really should occur when those mistakes are discovered, and that way the students have a real awesome opportunity to talk about the math.
Yeah, and if I could jump in, this is Mike. I think a lot of it has to do with the teacher too. So as the teacher, if you're trying to get your students to use the calculator as a tool, it really has to start with you. How you teach with that needs to be a tool as opposed to just doing your standard arithmetic. You know, a lot of times that's what we use the calculator for in my class, but we're certainly doing a lot more exploration. For instance, in my Algebra 1 class today, we were using an activity from our website that was helping my students learn how to solve linear equations with variables on both sides. And so there wasn't any part of that activity that my students went through today that they were using the calculator as just a crutch to do their arithmetic. They were making changes and observations about what would happen if they dragged a point and moved it across a number line, how that affected different things in the file. And they were writing sentences about their observations and making conjectures. And so I think a lot of it has to do with how you decide to use the calculator in your classroom.
Well, thank you, Michael, for elaborating on that, and Sandra and Valerie for adding your insight and answering that question that Leslie had.
There's another question that says, I'm not exactly sure what MathForward is. Are we talking about a new TI handheld device that you can integrate into instruction? I'm not sure who that question is from, but some confusion about the difference between, quote, MathForward and the fact that it is a program that has 8 components, that technology is only one of those components. So that the technology, yes, is a piece of it, but it's not the only piece.
Yes, that is very correct. I didn't see that question. The second component, one of the other components is professional coaching. Individualized coaching provides teachers with support so that they can learn how to use formative assessment to gauge student understanding and adjust instruction immediately, as opposed to waiting at the end of the week on your test or regular assessments. Coaching also provides teachers with support so that they can recognize opportunities for students to meaningfully participate in class by asking questions and helping students to make conjectures, critique the reasoning of others, and evaluate the reasonableness of solutions. Most often, coaching involves lesson modeling. Our coaches will teach a lesson to the teacher's class to demonstrate how best to teach a particular concept using technology and highlighting the most relevant mathematical practices. Sometimes our coaches also co-teach activities, which in this case means team teaching with the teacher for a class period or more. Sometimes it just means classroom observations and reflections. The coach will sit in the classroom and observe the teacher, not interrupting the class, but waiting till the end to share their thoughts and ideas and talk about potential strategies for improving or enhancing the lesson. Coaching sessions, it's very important to note that coaching sessions are non-evaluative. The coaches will record their observations for teachers, but do not grade or evaluate teachers. Coaching should always be a safe environment so that teachers can gain the most from the on-the-spot learning. Another strategy that our coaches often use or will employ is the I teach, we teach, you teach strategy. First, they will model how to teach a lesson, integrating Nspire technology. Then they will team teach with the teacher together to try it together. And then the teacher would teach the lesson solo with the coach observing and then reflecting with the teacher at the end of the day. At this point, I'd like to invite Amador to discuss the impact of MathForward coaching with respect to the teachers that we are supporting and have supported in Lubbock ISD last year.
Good evening, everyone. As far as the coaching component that MathForward provides, that is a big piece of the success that we've had in Lubbock ISD. Our district's about 29,000 students. We have 11 middle schools and 4 high schools. Currently, 5 of our middle schools and 2 of our high schools are participating in the MathForward program. We have an added component with this also. We have instructional coaches on site at each campus. So this really provides a unique opportunity for the MathForward coaches not only to work with our teachers directly, but also work with our in-house coaches. The impact that the MathForward coaches have had has been very valuable to our teachers. It really has enhanced teacher content knowledge, student engagement, and it's really helped our teachers see and use different methodologies for teaching mathematics.
Thank you, Amador. These are some of the responsibilities that our coaches have when they go out to their sites, their respective sites. Our coaches are also called implementation specialists, and I'd like to invite Valerie and Sandra to talk about their day-to-day experiences. Valerie, last year when you coached in Lubbock ISD, and Sandra as you currently coach in Lubbock ISD.
Okay, I'll start. This is Valerie again. First of all, I know that some people had joined in after Marco had started talking about MathForward. So just so everyone's aware that MathForward is a service that you can purchase through Texas Instruments, and it helps to improve student performance and teacher mathematical knowledge, and it helps to prepare your students for algebra success and in subsequent math classes as well. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that, because I see that a few people have logged in. And then before I talk about the responsibilities here, it looks like Myra Rubin has the question, are the coaches there all the time, all year? It depends on how often the coaches are there. It's based on the number of days that are purchased. And so generally not every single day during the year, but at strategic times during the year. And so that's something that can be set up as if you're interested in pursuing MathForward for your district. For day-to-day activities, though, when I was a coach, I basically would contact the teachers and administration at least a week before my coaching visit, and I request the topics of lessons that the teachers were going to be teaching their students, and also what specifically the teachers wanted to accomplish. So I needed to know what my function was as a coach. Did the teachers want me to model a problem-solving lesson based on our conversation? Did they want me to co-teach with them, observe and reflect, and then debrief? And basically, whatever the teachers needed is what I was there to support. And I'm sure Sandy would agree with that. Do you want to add something, Sandy?
Sure. One of the things that we do as coaches is we coach more closely at the beginning, and we actually, our job is to work ourselves out of a job, because one of the things that we do is we try to get the teachers to be self-sustaining so that they can do their own troubleshooting, because that's one of the things that we do is we work with technical issues and troubleshooting things. We closely work with what their needs are, what they feel that they want to see. But towards the end of the implementation, we're trying to get them to be able to do keep the growth going after we leave. So we're working with them to become self-sustaining in throughout the entire implementation. We do assist the teachers in planning. If they have a certain desire that they want a certain lesson that is not available on some of the resources that they have, and the resources are huge, but if they want something in particular, then we'll work to help them create a document or a file or a lesson that goes with that. And communication is big. We communicate before we go, and we let the administrators know that we're coming. We check in when we get there. And then after we leave, we do a debrief. Here's what we did, here's what I saw, and here's what our plans are for the next time. And the coaches are available by text and email when we're not there, so that if the teacher has an issue or a question, we are available to answer those questions, even when we're not in the district.
Exactly. And I would also add, in addition to creating documents for teachers, as Sandy said, we also show the teachers how to create their own documents so that they can be self-sustaining.
Thank you, ladies. And I'm glad, Sandra, you were able to emphasize the fact that the coaches assigned to sites are their coaches throughout the school year, physically when they're there, and not remotely when they're not there as well, through email and through phone or text as well. I'm glad that you pointed that out.
Thank you.
Professional development is another one of the components. It enhances understanding of the technology, mathematical content, and emphasizes best practices in the classroom. By bringing all teachers in the program together for professional development at the beginning of an implementation, they're able to start with a shared understanding of the program, learn technology together, and begin their professional learning as a community. And at this point, Amador, I'd like for you to share your insight on the professional development that your teachers in Lubbock have received last year from Valerie and this year from Sandra.
The professional development provided by the MathForward coaches is excellent. The content knowledge and the knowledge of the technology that the coaches bring to the table is phenomenal. Our teachers, and we have various levels of I would say, expertise among teachers when it comes to not only technology but content knowledge. The professional development provided by MathForward and their coaches, I would say, increased the content knowledge of our teachers twofold. So it is an excellent professional development, but it doesn't stop just at the professional development point. Their support throughout the year, and as they alluded, they are available to our teachers through email, text message, at all times. In fact, we've had teachers call Valerie in the middle of the night asking for help and those kind of things. And the support that we've gotten and the professional development that we've gotten has gone above and beyond even our expectations. Marco?
Thank you, Amador. Teacher content knowledge is enhanced through face-to-face or online interactions with their assigned implementation specialists, all of whom are experienced math teachers and or professors, experienced both in improving math educator content knowledge and in training educators how to best use technology to teach mathematics. The MathForward Online Resource Center, otherwise known as MFORCE, provides self-paced online learning options that focus on pedagogy and effective classroom management. The MathForward implementation specialists assigned to your schools can also provide targeted suggestions for additional opportunities to increase content knowledge. The MathForward implementation supervisor works with you to determine the best way to integrate the MathForward curriculum into your district's current curriculum. In most implementations, the coach or the implementation specialist works directly with the assigned teachers to suggest and or highlight MathForward activities appropriate for upcoming class sessions. The TI-Nspire curriculum provides teachers with ready-to-use classroom activities for the TI-Nspire, along with student worksheets and teacher guides that have been designed in collaboration with researchers and educators to align with math standards and practices. All MathForward materials can be found online in the MathForward Online Resource Center, accessible only to MathForward sites as part of the MathForward program. If a formal alignment is needed for curriculum integration, coaching days also may be applied to this service. Val and Sandra, would you guys like to share some insight on some of the work that you guys have done in Lubbock with regards to curriculum integration?
Sure. Excuse me. Our MathForward coaches will integrate the ready-made MathForward activities into the district's curriculum lessons, but we'll also, as Sandy said earlier, create warm-ups for teachers if they need that, lessons, review, calculator documents, whatever the teachers need basically, as well as teaching the teachers how to create and adjust documents for themselves to meet their needs. The MathForward curriculum contains warm-ups that are already made, pre- and post-tests, as well as problem-solving activities. So all of these avenues can be incorporated into the curriculum, and that's part of what we do as coaches.
We also take, this is Sandra, we also take the scope and sequence that the district is using so that we have the materials aligned in a timely fashion so that the teachers don't have to go and look through a vast database to find things. And that's one of the things that we're working on this year is developing per 6 weeks, looking at the scope and sequence of the state objectives that are being taught during any time period or a 9-week period or a grading period, so that the teachers have those things compiled in a good flow so that they don't have to go and search for things if they have them prepared ahead of time. A couple of weeks ago, at the end of the first grading period, we have a packaged folder with everything that is needed for the second 6 weeks. So we're going to continue working on that ahead of time so that the teachers have the material and they can preview them and look at them and see which ones that they want to use. They actually can choose from the many different resources that are available.
Thank you, ladies. Common warm-ups that are aligned to standards help drive instruction for the day, as well as provide a tool for gauging students' understanding from the previous day's lessons. Warm-ups and lessons are discussed in teacher planning time so that teachers can share strategies for addressing student performance. We are currently developing a pool of warm-up questions that are more recent and relevant to today's assessments, as well as formative assessments. The same applies to a TEKS alignment. In today's world has increased the level of demand placed on students, so providing extended instructional time in the math classroom gives students more time to build foundational math skills as well as to develop a deep sense of mathematics. Engage in the practice of mathematics, make sense of problems, develop mathematical models, and analyze and discuss problems and solutions. Also construct and critique arguments, and to learn to use the language of mathematics. Students also apply concepts to real problems and make connections to previous knowledge. Common planning time ensures consistency across the MathForward program, giving the math department teachers a designated period in which they can share best practices and strategies for implementing your content standards and math practices in their classrooms. Valerie and Sandra here, I know that you guys did some work with your teachers in Lubbock last year and currently within their common planning time. Can you guys provide us some insight on the things that you guys normally discuss during these periods?
Sure. I think that the common planning time is extremely valuable for teacher discussion regarding ideas for using the technology, reviewing formative assessments, reviewing student work, coming up with ideas for upcoming lessons. There's just a wealth of things that can be done that we have done during the teacher's common planning time. And I see that David Kinney had a question, and I was typing it up, but I'll just say it to everyone. His question was, can the coaches take the testing data and devise a plan for struggling teachers and remediation, incorporating the readiness and supporting standards of the TEKS in Texas? And so, absolutely, is the answer, not just for the TEKS, but also for Common Core as well. And that's just a part of what MathForward coaches do, and a lot of that can happen during the common planning time process. So helping the teachers set goals for their pedagogical improvement as well as goals for student growth is a part of what we do as MathForward coaches. So thank you for that question, David.
Something else I'd like to say about common planning time, and this is something that I think Lubbock has done an excellent job on. One of the things that is discussed during common planning time at the beginning, of course, is the policies and procedures. And I've seen a consistency throughout the campuses that I've visited on and that I'm working on. When the kids walk into the room, there is not one wasted minute of time. And the entire class period is spent on engaged instruction and engaged exploration. And this doesn't happen without a lot of planning time ahead of time. There's an old adage that says the best discipline plan is a good lesson plan. And Lubbock has proved that to me, and they validated that to me in that they together come up with a plan that works, and they implement it on a daily basis. And the fact that they have the consistency, I think, is one of the keys to their success, because the students know what's expected of them, and they know what to do when they walk into the classroom, and they know what techniques to use with the technology so that there's not any confusion or downtime. And I think that common planning time is very, very critical to that the teachers need time to debrief and say, well, this worked for me, this didn't, what have you tried, and let's take a different approach to something. Looking at state assessments and what kinds of mistakes do we make in answering, and how can we prevent that with our students. So common planning time is a very critical piece.
Thank you, ladies. I've mentioned the importance of administrative support, but I'm going to mention it again. While many factors contribute to the overall success of mathematics instruction, studies have shown that effective math instruction for all students require a total school effort and cannot be accomplished without the active and knowledgeable support of both school administration and at the district level. Administrators set expectations for teachers and students during the initial phase of the program and continue to monitor progress throughout the year. This is something that Lubbock has excelled in last year, the year before, and currently. I commend Amador for his involvement in this program and ensuring the principals are well versed in the MathForward program that is being supported or implemented in their campuses. All of the principals know when a coach is going to be supporting their teachers and what's going on in their campuses as well. But this is extremely important, a critical component that determines the success of the implementation. These are administrative responsibilities that have been identified to ensure a very successful MathForward implementation. At this point, again, I'd like to ask Amador to add his insight on the administrative support that we've seen in Lubbock ISD from campus to campus.
And Marco's right. The administrative support for each of our 5 campuses that is participating in this program has been excellent. And I think that we attribute that to the information that we distribute to the administration. They are kept in the loop of everything that's going on with the MathForward program. They know they don't have to be the content expert, but they are well versed in what's going on in their campuses. So with that being said, it was really easy to get the support from the administrators at each campus because along with MathForward, we provided them with all the information that was needed so that they could make sound decisions on how they wanted the programs to be implemented. Marco?
Thank you, Amador. Part of the support that administrators receive are coaching and training reports. And even though this sample report is very small and the text is hardly visible, this is something that we share after each one of the visits with our administrators. We feel that providing administrators with visibility on the progress of the implementation is something that we value tremendously. And I'm sure that they also value receiving these reports. And I'm sure, Amador, you've received your fair share of reports over the last several years, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. The reports are an excellent tool. They not only help us monitor what's going on each campus, but actually with these reports, we do drive, it does drive some of our instruction as well. So in this era of being very transparent, we want to make sure that everybody is kept in the loop, and so these reports definitely help in that respect.
Thank you, Amador. Well, the next part of the webinar is showcasing some of the successes that Lubbock ISD has seen in the last several years. And so at this point, I'd like Amador to discuss the following data.
So as you look at a couple of two-year comparisons, this is 6th grade campuses across the district that have participated in MathForward or are currently participating in MathForward. We had a slight dip in our scores. Again, there's different factors that we attribute that to: teacher turnover, implementation curve, those kind of things. But overall, we still saw a trend, an upward trend throughout the year. With the, of course, Cavazos, which is the third school, had really good gains in 6th grade. As we move forward to 7th grade, we saw that there were definite gains. Some of our schools traditionally were very non-engaging with their students. The MathForward program with the technology piece really helped our students become more engaged with mathematics. In our state assessment, we're not allowed to use the calculator or the handheld. Sorry, Sandra, the handheld for the test. But we made sure to emphasize to teachers that the handheld was to be used as an instructional tool. And so this really helped with the student engagement, with the formative assessment. And so in 7th grade, it really showed some upward trends. as far as 8th grade goes, we really had some really good successes overall. All the campuses as a whole improved. We had a slight dip at Cavazos. I believe there, though, we had, I think, a couple of new teachers, not only new to the campus, new to the technology, and basically new to this model. But our shining star was definitely McKinsey. McKinsey Middle School definitely had some significant gains. There's where we had, you know, some teachers that again, lacked a little bit of content knowledge and maybe some confidence. So with this program, they definitely embraced it. And again, the student engagement piece and the administration support on campus at all of our campuses has been phenomenal, which has led to the success of the program. We did see great gains for the students that took Algebra 1 at the 8th grade level. This slide shows students who were in 8th grade that are involved in the Algebra program. Again, student engagement, formative assessment, teacher buy-in was big in getting the Algebra 1 students really involved with the technology. Now in Texas, the Algebra 1 test, in the course test, we are allowed to use calculators or handhelds, and so having them in the classroom the entire year and working with this technology definitely enhanced our student scores at the 8th grade level. And moving on to high school, the 2-year comparison. Traditionally in Lubbock, we've had some struggles with Algebra 1, but after implementing the MathForward program in the last couple of years, we have seen some gains. Coronado is really the new kid on the block, so they didn't show gains, but they didn't show a dip. And a lot of times, anytime you implement a new program, you see a dip, but they didn't have that. We were really proud of Estacado and Monterey's gains. As you can see, they both showed double-digit gains. Again, we attribute that to the teachers, of course, first and foremost for the dedication and hard work that they do, but the hard work and the dedication of the MathForward team, the coaches, principals, and everybody involved in this program, and of course, especially the students. It's definitely a total team effort when it comes to some of the successes that we've had here in Lubbock ISD.
Amador, Leslie had a question, and her question is, are many of your students retained from middle to high school?
No, they move on. We do have some procedures in place that would allow a student to be retained, but ultimately the parent makes the decision on whether or not the student should be retained. So a lot of our students, I'd say most of our students are promoted from 8th to high school. So if there are gaps, then we try our very best to identify those kids that perhaps need some extra math intervention and try to put them in, I wouldn't say double blocks, but definitely provide them with more robust type interventions. Does that answer her question, you think?
Yeah, I think so. And she also had a second one that I think I can answer. Her question was, at what level do students start to use the handheld? And that would be at the 6th grade level. They get introduced for the first time to this technology, and then from there they see it again in 7th grade and in 8th grade and so on.
Right, right.
Thank you, Amador, for sharing this data with us. There are 2 types of implementation models. Currently, well, the first model is an implementation specialist where we provide a coach. The coach supports teachers, provides coaching, lessons, collaboration, everything that we discussed in today's webinar. The second model is a district specialist model where our coach trains a district person, a district internal coach, and that coach in turn turns the training and the PD and the support around to their teachers. Currently in Lubbock, we are implementing a blended approach where our coaches are not only supporting classroom teachers, but are also providing Lubbock's internal math coaches with PD throughout the year for sustainability purposes. So I guess in one phrase, to summarize this in one phrase, one size does not fit all. We are certainly flexible and adjust from one model to the other accordingly. These are some of the programs, or the program cost includes these factors. It includes a mathematics curriculum for 6th, 7th, 8th, and algebra, and this is a series of activities, warm-ups, formative assessments, as Valerie and Sandra alluded to earlier. It also includes professional development services that the coaches deliver throughout the school year, and they deliver also access to MForce, which is our online resource center, where they can collaborate with other teachers from the same school district, share lessons, use a discussion board, or even engage in online learning. With any program, there's some potential additional investments. Obviously, investing in TI-Nspire Navigator technology and TI-Nspire handhelds is something that schools need to look into. Most schools nowadays are equipped with LCD projectors and computers and so forth, so the investment would be just on the TI technology in this case. If you'd like more information or specific information regarding program cost or any other questions that we have not answered in this webinar, these folks right here on your screen, Ms. Tanya Hancock, Mr. Dave Kavlik, and Mr. Steve Sanchez would be more than happy to answer your questions, and their contact information is on their screen. You could also go to our website, TI-MathForward.com, for additional information if you'd like to explore our website and learn about the different components there. Our website is on the screen. Any questions? Leslie has a question. Have you ever had a student use the handhelds from 6th grade to 12th grade, or do you have any data that shows growth on that same student? Amador, I don't think we have any data that shows growth for one particular student from 6th grade on over to 12th grade, do we?
No, I don't think that we can pinpoint it to a student. I know that we've used the MathForward program at one of our high schools in geometry and even in Algebra 2, but I would say with our mobility rate in Lubbock, it would be difficult to track one particular student.